Greetings and welcome. This is RP MMO Radio, and I will be your host, Ashen Phoenix. And of course, with me, as always, are the two lovely ladies, Sib and Jazz. How's it going, gals?
Hello.
All good.
Good.
Good here.
This is our 18th episode, Original Origins, because all origins are original, except for when they're not. And so before we get a little bit into some of the stuff, we actually are going to start doing something on our show from here on out, which is basically like a talk radio show where you can call in, only instead of calling in with a phone number, because we don't have something like that, if you go to our www.rpmmoradio.com/discord, you can go there, click on the link, and join our Discord channel. And when you do that, if you see, we have our on-air live channel and, of course, the general one for voice. If you want to actually say something to us and talk to us live on the air while we're doing the podcast, just go in to the general chat, as someone like Mikey here has, and we'll drag you down and hear what you have to say. And
Hello, Mikey.
yes.
Hello, Bush.
But so let's go ahead and get through our quick stuff here, and then we'll drag Mikey on and see what he's got to say. Today we will be talking about and this is we're kind of after all the stuff we did with the last 3 episodes of events and a lot of the technical details. We're gonna go into a little bit more talk showy stuff we can talk about with you, and as we said, have you call in about and talk about with us. So we're going to go over some of the characters we've made over the years in various games, and how we each came up with them, how we all came up with them separately, and things like that. And we actually, and if we don't even get to all the characters we have, because you guys want to share how you've come up with your characters and some of your favorites that you've had over the years in roleplay, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'd much rather hear from you guys than hear me spout for an hour and a half, and whatever the girls got going on. I mean, they're just gonna, obviously it's not gonna be as good as anything you guys come up with. Yeah, see, they know it. They know it's true. So
she can still slap you.
Yeah,
I can.
She beats me because she loves me. That's
right.
That's what I have to tell the police officer, otherwise she
What is
hits
it?
me
If the
again.
glove fits, no. If the glove doesn't fit, you gotta quit.
I don't remember how it goes.
I think that's for murder.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
Calm down there, Ike Turner. So anyway, you can want to listen to us after the fact. You can always do it on iTunes or Apple, whatever it's called, Google Play, Stitcher. And of course, if you're listening to us on the podcast, you can always join us live every other Saturday at 7 Central at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. And so let's go ahead real quick before we get to the 2 callers we actually have waiting for us. What have we been doing in roleplay? Does anybody have stuff that's gone on the last 2 weeks?
Well, I was sick, so
that would be a quick no.
No, actually, it means that I was home more, and that I did actually get some roleplay in.
But do you remember any of it?
Not a whole lot, no. I was pretty miserable.
I
It was
remember
fuzzy head roleplay.
tasted like the color green a lot. It was called NyQuil.
I was so out of it. I'm still out of it.
Yeah.
I'm really.
She forgot where our pins were earlier.
Yeah, I was like, where is it?
Hey, in her defense,
Oh,
even though she was sick, those pins are hard to find sometimes. I was just in here scrolling through everything like a mad woman, trying to find everything. I'm like, where is it? Where is it?
Well, yes. If you're not in the right chat, the pins don't work correctly.
And I just completely couldn't figure it out. That's just how sad of a state my brain is in now after being sick for 3 days. But
so what we
I
been
did
doing?
get a chance to roleplay. I have a new character that I've been roleplaying a little bit, and developing that roleplay has been fun. So, Cial, of course, is still moving and grooving and meeting people, and she's got a couple new friends that are hanging out. So, good times.
Yeah. Nothing of note, or just
It's
kind
always
of
good.
general
getting to
character
know people
development.
stuff. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm really still. I've only been in this game 8 months, so yeah, I'm still, a lot of my stuff is still character development.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. What about you, Sib?
Just little bit of role play here and there. Not a whole lot of stuff going on. I'm actually bringing a new character into the game, a dude, because I have never played a dude before. But since my lovely other plays a chick, I was like, I need to make a dude.
They're
So,
fun.
We're
They're
gonna
fun.
do play
They're very
role
different
reversal.
to play.
yeah, I've never played one, so this is going to be quite a challenge for me. And I still play volley and
She thinks
Uh,
he's sexy.
oh, you know what? Now I know why guys make chick, because
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
so
So
much fun looking at my character.
I know.
It's just sad.
Oh, he's so pretty.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like long, thick hair, pretty eyes, nice body. I'm like, the only thing I don't like is they all have hair on their chest.
Oh, girl.
I don't
She's
care
not.
much for
She
the
doesn't like the
hair.
hairy guys, which is why we work out. Because I,
Yeah. He's
you know
got,
how
like, one
men
hair on
have
his
soul
chest.
patches on their chin. I just have that like right in the middle of my chest, and that's pretty much all there is. I am not a Russian bear-like guy. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's
Anything?
about all I've been up to.
Yeah. I had a lot of good roleplay on Tarvala the last 2 weeks. A lot of the characters, one of the characters in the Servants Temple, she got real sick, overexerted herself to a high order named Lilel, who is a complete hard ass and one of the easiest characters I've ever met to absolutely detest. She's just a jerk, and she's mean, but Tar figured out kind of early, it's like getting angry at your drill instructor for being an asshole. That's literally their job. They're not there to be your friend until, later. And now that Tarv has,
Okay, I have to say, jump in there. That is a horrible short name for her.
Tarv. That's
Yeah,
what everyone
don't-
calls. It's better than
Tarv.
it's better than Tar, which is the other one.
Vala. Vala would be good.
Yeah, but no, they all call her
Tarv.
Tarv. Yeah, but yeah, it's so they've gotten actually fairly close, and she wasn't doing too well, so she actually was concerned for her, and they've actually almost, I'd say, actually become friends on a lot of levels, at least outside the uniform. The second they put that Ordinator uniform on from ESO, it's back to but that's just how it has to be. You got to have that chain of command. So, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been character development stuff, which I always enjoy. Anytime a characters evolve or their relationship, that you didn't see coming, shifts and things like that. And also one of the people, Roger, who's a high Ordinator of War there, started a big roleplay campaign that he's going to be probably doing over several sessions with the orcs attacked a city called Necrom, which isn't actually in the game of Elder Scrolls, but we're gonna, for the sake of that, we're pretending that it is, because it's roleplay and it's pretend. So that's pretty much where we are with that. And so real quick here, we'll go ahead and let's see. I don't think we have anything. We're not going to bother with stories because we really were hoping lots of people called in. And so far, we got 3 of you guys lined up, and we are going to get to you here in just a minute. Just going to do a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll hit up a little bit of the topic, and then we'll see what you guys have to say about your characters. So, without further delay, a word from our sponsors. Coming this winter to a role player near you: Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, X-Man, men. All great characters have one thing in common: original stories that have been told again and again and again. Tragic loss, dead parents, child abuse, and werevampires. 1, 2, or all of these things are coming again and again and again. You know the name. You know the story. You know it because it's been used game to game to game. Join us this winter as an adventurer is reborn, or an assassin, or a barmaid, or whatever it is they've played again and again and again. You'll know the plot. You'll know the stories. You'll know everything because you've already heard it all before. This winter, watch Origin 4, Reused Origin Stories 3, The Returning Revenge. This time, it's pissed off and personal. So there you go. That sounds like a horrible movie. I probably wouldn't pay to see it. Much like everyone that didn't go see Mother.
I think that,
Hey, I can't. We all know people that do it. I know Jazz and me especially included. We've done that. We've definitely reused a lot of character tropes again and again and again. So it's mostly poking fun at us as much as anybody else.
That's true.
Hey, I'm going to have a character that's really secret and doesn't tell people a lot of stuff. Oh, that's good. I think I already did that when I was Xanis and 2 or 3 other characters. So, yeah, way to go there, Ashen. So,
we do what we know. Right?
We do what you know. And you do what's fun. Which is, as we'll get into when we go over these characters, I actually came to realize something about a lot of my characters, which is kind of where a lot of that came from, actually. So we're gonna do go over, like I said, origin stories. At this point, we of course always hate them. I mean, seriously, we know, like Spider-Man, how many times can you tell how he lost Uncle Ben and learned a lesson, or watch Batman's parents die in an alley while his mom's necklace just flies off over and over and over. We get it. So we're gonna do our own origins on how we came up with this stuff. So let's make sure. Hopefully this will work because we've actually not tested it out first. But yeah. Hold on, I gotta unmute him somehow. There we go. Move to guest. Oh, it's because he's actually done it himself. Mikey, if you're there, we'll go ahead and go to you live if you're there.
Hello.
He's muted.
He's got himself muted. You got yourself muted, bud. All right, we might have to come back to him. Oh, nope, Mike's not muted. Okay, so it's probably me.
Oh, way to go,
man.
Man, our first guest, and you're making him look bad.
Huh, that's weird because I don't have you muted either.
Yeah, it says muted on mine.
Yeah. All right, let's try. Okay, I'm gonna put you through. This is all kind of a test as well. So, hey, live shows are fun. All right, I'm gonna throw Mikey back up there and see if one of the others, if it's something on my end, and it is, of course. This is why I should.
Okay, but now Kel is muted, so I think maybe guests are muted automatically. It might be a setting.
Yeah. There we go.
Did you find it?
Because Kel is muted as well, so it's a setting.
Yeah, I'm changing that real quick. Sorry about that, guys. This is why I probably should have. I didn't realize with Discord that it would do something like that. Roll to guest.
I feel like I should sing a song.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Jazz, why don't you go into one of your characters and I'll figure this thing out real quick. And as soon as I interrupt you with, once I get Mike, I'll throw Mikey back in here because he was first. So, and I'll figure that out. So if you want to go ahead and go over one of your characters there, Jazz.
Well, my very first serious character in RP for MMOs was, well, I guess I had Toyana, but she was more casual. Vakarina was my very first character. I rolled her out. I didn't roll out Toy. She just kind of became out of stories that we were working on other characters. Vakarina, I rolled out with guys on a thing, character sheet, and then I put it into the game and tried to make it fit. In retrospect, never do that. But was very hard, and I really made my life a lot harder than I ever needed to be because the lore didn't match, and it was really a pain. But she, over the course of 12 years, became one of my pivotal characters. She had a huge backstory. She had involved backstory. I wrote about her for months before I actually threw her into game. So she was well developed and was a lot of fun to play. I had never played an immortal or a monster before, so this was a challenge for me. I hated that kind of character previously, and when I played D&D and things like that. So Bakarina was a challenge, and she was a lot of fun. And she also ruled the guild that I was in, Silver Circle, which was also started by me. When I dig a hole deep, folks. And I created so
And
much.
everybody jumps right in on the top of you.
Oh, yeah. So I had never done anything like this character. I'd never done anything like a roleplay guild. And my husband was in the back going, crazy people play roleplay, trying to warn me.
Nerds.
Yeah. Because we were playing on a completely different server, not a roleplay server. And we had roleplay there. It was very casual, and it was with a group of raiders that we hung out with, and it was a lot of fun. But then I wanted to actually go to the roleplay server, and my husband was like, there are really crazy people there. It's like, you're being melodramatic, it'll be fine. Well, I'd like to say in retrospect, he was very, very correct. And
But you just happen to love them.
But I came to love all of them, and with dramatic people comes dramatic stories, so it worked out.
Yeah.
And we go, my
Ready to
people.
interrupt me now?
Yeah. Okay. I think we
Okay.
got Mikey. Mikey, you there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Appreciate you calling in, man.
Yay!
Yeah,
Thanks for calling
welcome.
RPM Radio. You are our very first guest that wasn't planned.
I feel so honored. I
should
feel
be.
like you're going to lose every one of your audience because of me. I will not be here anymore in the future because you're going to ban me. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
It's all right. The
Thank
check's in the mail. We appreciate you calling in. Your $5 is on its way. So, what can we do for you, Mikey? What's some of your favorite characters that you've done, and how'd you come up with them?
Well, how about instead of talking characters, maybe like a way of doing it?
Go ahead.
One of the things like I like to do is what's called like an inversion trope. So you basically look at all the characters within the RP landscape and look at the overall generalization, excuse me. So for instance, you have a Nord. Nords are typically from Elder Scrolls. They're typically hardy, hard drinking, belief in Sovngarde, Cease Day, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you flip it around and say, okay, well, belief in Sovngarde, you go to Sovngarde if you fight valiantly, but then what happens to people who have done terrible, terrible things in their life? How is that played out into their belief system? What if they are bandits and they know it? Does that mean that going to Sovngarde will still vindicate the actions that they do, so therefore they could just be terrible all the way up to one point and then flip it around and be valiant? And you can also look at literature. If you want to look at, like in a fantasy version, to use an overused example, you can look at Game of Thrones and
Right.
Lord of the Rings, right? George R.R. Martin said, rather than looking into how things are, you look into the shades of gray. So I think that talking about that sort of thing and really picking up on little nuances to try and flip everything on its head is a really good way to create a character.
Yeah, kind of going for and also J.R. Martin said, "Leave me alone about the book; it'll be done when it's done." But but no, that's actually that's always one good way to come up with a character is not to do the same thing. Anybody can come up with the same thing over and over. That's fairly easy, but it is always, there's a lot of subtlety that goes into it if you really want to make a character that's not already role playing around there. That's a lot of good points, especially when you go with the Nords if they already know they're gonna go to hell, or if it's like the old joke with Christianity. I pissed off a bunch of people at church, but I just asked them to forgive me. So just forgive me, give it up. Oh, it's all right. And then at the end, you go in the way. So yeah, there's a lot of different outlooks you can take with your characters. Have you done that a lot? I assume are you role playing in ESO?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Actually migrated to ESO last December, so yeah, it's what I've been doing with my Nord on ESO, is to sort of try and invert the Nord trope that I saw with a lot of characters, them being
go the opposite way of the burly, drunken, war is everything is war, the Sort of, actually, now that I think of it, Nords are kind of like Russians. Huh. Never really put that together.
Where's the vodka?
Well, I mean, let's look at it. They drink a lot. They're hairy. They fight a bear. Russians. But no, yeah, is that what? And that's what you've kind of done with your characters currently in ESO. But that's actually sounds like.
I like your comment that you made. Look into the gray, because that's what I do with a lot of my characters. I look into what you don't see on the average. I actually have a Nord in ESO too, and it is so funny because every time I role play with her, everyone thinks she's a Brit.
Yeah, because she doesn't look like a Nord.
Yeah,
she's all pale and she's very prissy.
But it's fun to do that. I enjoy doing my characters that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Mikey. You got anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Thanks for having me. Keep doing what you're doing. Can't wait for the next episode.
Cool. You got any shout outs to your guild or role playing friends that you want to give before you head on out?
Sure. I'll give a shout out to all my friends at Panda Pants, at Horizon Seeker, to Hammer Everett Mora. You guys rock.
Yeah, I like Panda. I like Panda Pants. I like that one a lot. All right. Well, appreciate you calling in, Mikey. You have a good one. Thank you very much for being our first guest caller.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you in the game.
All right. Well, that went pretty well, and I figured out what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
So before we go to our next caller, Jazz, you want to finish up on Vacarina, because I know she's like with me with Xanis, she's probably your penultimate character that you've definitely logged the most ungodly and probably embarrassing amount of time on.
Oh yes, because at the time when I rolled Vacarina, I was disabled. I was sleeping 15 hours a day, and I was on ESO when I wasn't sleeping. Or not ESO, EQ when I wasn't sleeping. Yeah. So I played 18 hours a day, 15 to 18 hours a day.
Yeah, you were on, especially when I first met you, you were, and your kids were all really, really young.
Yeah,
you could just put them in a box or a dog pen and just leave them there for the whole day.
No, they were next to me in my office, you smartass. And I was able to, because, and this is not a bad thing to people, because I know some people get really touchy about this, but most people type very, very slowly. I type 100 words a minute. I read very fast.
Picture it didn't happen.
I will vouch for her.
I type very fast. So when I'm typing,
none of them spelled correctly.
Yes, they are. Shut up. Let me finish. So I would type my responses, and then I would get up and
and wait. Yeah.
And I would sit back down, and people were still typing.
Yeah, I do that from time to time as well.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I never minded. I just knew that because people type slowly, I could do other things.
And I always hate that too. You know what I hate about that is because, and then as soon as if I come back and I see they've already finished, then I feel guilty. Even though I still keep doing it, but they, even if they had like literally just.
I will also say that you two, that is an intimidation thing, because it was hard for me when I first started to role play with either one of you, because you do type so fast, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get my sentence out before they start talking again.
And I always. I hated doing it because unlike with you, Jazz, when you do that, nobody can see that except for, I guess Jay, your husband.
Yeah.
But when I'm role playing with her, because I've been doing and typing on computers and using computers for so much longer, and I'm so much faster, I'd always make her feel bad, because while she was typing, I would look at another screen, like on the internet or something like that. And it wasn't because I'm like being impatient. It was just, it's going to take her a minute, and it's cool, and I don't mind. But I just, instead of staring at the character, waiting for it to happen when nothing else was going on, I just would do that. And
I think it's cool that you guys are able to type that fast. I'm getting better, but whenever I first started, it was intimidating.
I had to learn.
What are you
I laughed. Kellen Drost in the chat said, "Did she give them a surge protector to chew on to keep them occupied?" Nice one, Kel. He'll be our next phone call here.
Yeah,
he's a longtime friend of ours.
Yes, yes, we've known him a long time. I was so I was on a lot and Vakarina, I had all this time to devote to the guild, to devote to everything, and then you.
And that was in the golden age of EverQuest 2, was roleplay and the game itself, actually.
Yes.
So I mean, it was
I would take Vaka
perfect
to the
storm for her.
What was it called? God, I'm starting to forget the place where everybody went. The bar.
The Bloodhaze?
Yeah.
Bloodhaze. I would go to the Bloodhaze with Vakarina, have my log file up, and have my log on, so that I would sit there with her, writing occasionally while I cleaned house, while I did all this stuff, and I would get everybody's stories.
Oh, yeah, because you're just sitting there.
Yeah, because I'm just sitting there. And they ignored me because I was, level 4, level 12, and nobody thought I was anybody. And so I learned everybody's stories.
And at the time, technically you weren't. Yeah,
Well, no, I wasn't anyone at the time. But I had this little guild, and we were all building our role play. And Vaka was this very nasty assassin type that was busy doing her own evil, and she was basically gathering information. And then I began to have Vakarina get into situations where she'd say, but you're doing this, you're cheating on your wife,
because they did it out and they did it, it wasn't a secret. They literally did it right there in front of you in a tavern.
And they were so tickled that somebody had been paying close enough attention to
that little bit of extra attention that people that's always a cool feeling.
People love it when they realize that the things that they were doing, somebody was actually paying attention. And so then she would blackmail people into doing what she wanted.
Blacklisting is a totally different thing in roleplay. You don't do that unless you absolutely have to. Don't blacklist people.
That's how she and Paladin Mortis became friends, because she blackmailed him.
Mm-hmm.
Because she found out things about him just by sitting there, and he didn't know who she was. And that's how we became friends, OOC and IC, is because my character had learned so much that he's turned the tables and said, fine, you got me, but now I'm going to pay you for information.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Yeah, I like that. And he was a really good bad guy to play off of.
He was. And they were secretly friends. Everybody thought they hated each other, and they took great pains to make sure that everybody knew that they hated each other.
Yeah.
But they were very good friends, and they stayed friends for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Even after he left the game, he'd come back as a snake and come into my guild hall and wait for me to log on in Valkyrie's office. So
yeah, and he was a cool guy, just in character. As his character itself was awesome, but out of character, he was one of a lot of people that when they play the bad guys, a bad guy character like that guy did, it can get personal because it's hard. Anybody, it's easy to happen when you're constantly having negativity thrown at you, even if it is in character. Yeah, we're still people, and it's not an easy thing. You really have to be able to separate those two headspaces, and he was really good at it.
Unfortunately, because of the way that I started roleplay, and because of the way that I rolled Valkyrie, the people who can't tell the difference came to hate my character and hate me.
Yeah,
and that caused all the drama. It got personal, and people began to have a problem, which is why I went to AOC for a while. And we'll stop there so we can take
Age of Conan.
Yes, Age of Conan. We'll stop there before I get into Tree.
As we found out the other day, was it Quinn when you said AOC? I was thinking Age of Conan. He was thinking of Ashes of Creation, which is a new one coming out, and they share the same damn acronym.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I know. So now we're gonna have to start
Age of
differentiating.
Conan. There's never been an AOC before, so I'll have to remember that this is not. No, this was a very old game. But anyway, Kel's turn.
I'm going to pull Kellandros down here, who is an old-time friend of ours, and I'm fairly certain I've got him taken care of, unless he's got himself on mute. You got yourself on mute there, Kel, again? Is this a me thing that I'm doing?
It's probably
nope. Good grief.
Yep. Is it you again?
Oh,
you
server.
Again.
There it goes.
There it goes. That's me. I'm still learning, folks. Sorry about this. I'm running everything behind the scenes. So here is Kellandros.
Welcome.
Also, Nadish from our old guild, Silver Circle in EverQuest 2, is a longtime friend of ours. How's it going, bud? Are you there? Okay, it's not muted this time. I can see that there's no mute button on him now.
I don't think Kel and Natisha are the same person.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I got them backwards. Yeah, Kellandros is the different guy. Duh, sorry.
Totally different.
Yeah, I remember
Yes,
Kellandros.
yes.
Kel, you there?
I am here.
Oh, there you are.
Welcome.
How's it going, brother?
Good. How's things?
Doing all right.
Doing good.
You're live.
You're live.
I'm
on the
live.
air. Yeah, you're a live and you are live. So sorry, I got you and Nadish confused. I don't know how I did that. You're obviously Kellandros, who is also Rose, as
Yes.
Xanis would call you all the time.
I was waiting how long it'd be before that came
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
Rose.
called him Rose. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a kind of an ongoing joke. So what's some of your favorite characters and how'd you come up with them? Is that what you want to talk about, bud?
Sure. Kellandros is definitely my favorite character. He was never my original one. He was brand new when I started playing EQ2. He came up as a completely strange, off-the-wall thing from another player's idea to form a little guild around these strange type of dragon people. And that guild kind of crashed, but I still had the character, and I liked his concept and who he was. So I just made him a very open, easygoing, one to be liked kind of character, so I could really get out there and find all the RP that existed out in the game.
And he was very well liked.
Yeah, I always
He
liked
was-
Kel.
He
He's
was a
one
cool
that could take a
character.
joke and didn't take everything crazy seriously. Sometimes, it was always nice to have him around.
Yeah, Kel was always fun.
Yeah, that was always kind of a big goal for him. I didn't want, we got enough characters with chips on their shoulders or
A
Or,
dark
you know-
and stormy past. Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
I just
and
wanted him to
again,
be simple and
again.
fun to just, I didn't know what was out there, so I wanted him to be able to befriend everybody so he can find all the possible RP little groups and little corners where it existed.
Yeah. So are you playing anything currently too still, or are you just kind of in between stuff?
I'm playing Star Wars: The Old Republic at the moment. Mostly. Have a lot of fun with that. Not a big RP community I'm finding there so far.
Yeah.
Now that
unless- It's
That would be why I left.
yeah. It's
It had its moment, though. It did.
Oh, it did.
At the
It was a lot
beginning.
of fun for
Yeah.
a time.
one of the main things I like about it is the gameplay itself. But if we've actually got some serious RP people going on in ESO, I may come back to that.
yeah. We got a lot. It's still a very solid roleplay community there because
Yeah,
there's everything from obviously people, most of us from EQ2 back in the Silver Circle days are migrated there at this point. At least a good portion of them, probably more so than I think we've probably had since maybe the beginning of SWOTOR when it first came out. I know a lot of us went
Yeah.
there, but that's probably been the biggest concentration we've had since then. But there's everything in that community from, the Dark Elf only guilds like the one I'm in to what we have with like a kind of a mercenary assassin thing and the tavern and everything in between. There's
There's an
good
orc
guilds,
guild,
there's bad
orc guild.
guilds, yeah. There's a
Yeah,
lot
there's-
of good stuff in ESO,
Yeah.
which is
I-
why they're there.
When I first went over there, I wasn't finding a lot of that. I didn't really know anybody to get hooked into it either. And the gameplay, just the gameplay of the game, wasn't all that appealing to me as far as classes and how everything worked. I mean, there's some fun stuff, but there were just other games that I had much more fun playing.
Yeah.
But if there's good role play there, I played EQ for quite a while after I kind of got bored with the gaming part of it because there was so much fun RP. That's kind of all I do for a while.
Mm-hmm. Even
So
without
I might do the same thing with ESO. Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth it. It's worth a look because go to what? Hold on, let me check here. TSO dash RP, the Elder Scrolls Online RP is a good. Seems to be the main kind of roleplay hub on the internet to kind of get in and take a look. So if you go there, I think that'll give you a good idea of the different variations in the community. It's like a lot of roleplay communities. There's good, there's bad, but it's definitely, since they did the one Tamriel, it's definitely still a very large and healthy roleplay community. I've very rarely when we go to like open roleplay events do I even see a lot of the same people over and over. So that's always a good thing for a healthy community that's got a lot of roleplay going on.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's a good point that you have to kind of like the game to be able to roleplay in it. You know,
At least, well, not everybody does, but I certainly do. If I don't like the gameplay, I won't stay.
Yeah,
that's what I was like.
Roleplay is not going to keep me occupied 24/7 when I want to.
Yeah,
because you've got to have something to do while you're waiting for roleplay.
That's what I had that problem in Final Fantasy 14. I wanted to like it. I created the character, but I didn't enjoy the game as much as I do ESO. So
Yeah.
I ended up back over there.
And everybody's got their different tastes, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, Kellandros here tries it out and he still just doesn't grab them, then, you know, it happens. You know, WoW didn't grab me, neither did, you know, a dozen other RP and roleplay MMOs that we've played. Didn't they grab us either? WildStar. Of course, that one didn't grab hardly anybody, apparently. I know there's a few people.
It had an explosion of roleplay, and then the game.
Man, it just crashed out. Yeah, I think it was something about the end game. It just got real repetitive, and that just goes to show that what we were saying about you got to have good gameplay, a good game to build the solid roleplay around. And like EverQuest 2, it did for a long time have both, and then that was also part of that was also after 10 years, a community can only, you know, it just happens. There's wear and tear, you know. So before we let you go, is there anything else you want to say, or any other characters that you've had, or any shout outs?
Really, I just want to say, I wish I'd known this was going on sooner. I checked in more often. Yeah. I plan to be a continued fan and checking this out.
Well, just remember to click that subscribe button on twitch.tv/RPMMO radio and go to our YouTube channel if you wish, and go to facebook.com. You know all the places.
Official voice. Oh my god.
Yeah, we're going to have weather on the hour, off the hour, and every 2 minutes here on RPMMO radio. Tune in live for our weather cam. We got Dean Winkleton on
Kellandros coming in live for you here from Iowa.
Yeah, because 4 kids in Idaho demanded it. Well, I appreciate you calling in, bud. I hope to hear from you again. We're gonna, like I said, start doing these call-in stuff more often. And if there's some topic that we come up with that you want to say or do anything like that, just throw your 2 cents in. We'll have you on anytime.
Awesome.
Yeah,
sounds fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Right. Bye, Kel.
Have a good one.
Bye, Kel.
Later,
Take
bud.
care.
Bye.
All right. So, let's see here. We got. Appreciate you guys calling in. It really is. It's actually even better than I had hoped. I honestly, when we had started this, I didn't expect anybody to call in. You know.
Well, when we first started this, we didn't expect anybody to be interested either.
To listen.
Yeah.
So
honestly, Jazz, when he approached,
about it, yeah,
I probably had the same thoughts as you did, because when he first told me about it, I was like, "We'll give it a go." But
sure, baby, whatever you want.
Yeah, here we are, 18 episodes in, and doing pretty good.
Yeah, we are.
So, okay, well, before I hit up my thing, I think we got we got 2 other calls. Okay, before we hit you, we're actually going to go ahead and grab Jay the Exile. He's Zatari 420. Yeah, blaze it. We'll get to you here after the Exile here, so let me see if I can drag him down. And now that I've actually figured out how to do this, okay, this time I think he actually is muted on his own, because he was muted up in the chat. So, Jay the Exile, you there? So, if not... Oh.
Way to go, Ashen.
That wasn't me. That was him.
Oh.
So, let's see. You there, Jay? Oh, I might have to unmute you again. Yep, server mute. It automatically mutes the server. There's so next we have Jay the Exile. How you doing, Jay?
Hi, welcome.
I'm good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
I'm good.
Appreciate you calling in on RPMMO Radio. So, what can we do for you? What you got?
No, I just want to talk a little bit about my character tonight. Awesome. First of all, tonight's actually the first night that I heard about your podcast. I was super excited to be a part of it, just to participate and just listening, I guess.
Yeah,
ESO
glad to have
community
you.
has been going on. Oh, thank you. ESO community has been going on, I guess, since I think the date was about 2014.
It's
Yeah, I
been
think
3
that's
years
right.
now. Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
3 years, and I remember doing the beta, and going, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started up. My guild originally started in 2014, and we've been kind of going off and on since then.
What's your guild's
Just-
name?
House Sarthos.
House-
I've
I've
heard
seen
you
you
guys.
actually. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
you guys.
You've
about,
heard of
yeah.
me. You either so if you've heard of me, you either hate me or love me.
I don't remember that part. I remember
Well,
the
I
guild
know
name.
that I know the house is Sarthos your name as well.
It's my character's name,
Okay.
Arthur Sarthos.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen you.
Yeah, I think I've
Yeah,
seen you around, but
absolutely.
I'm always usually on an ordinator, so I don't think I've ever said anything
Gotten along
to
with me?
you.
See, y'all gets
Yet.
along with everyone mostly. You
Mm.
gotta work to piss her off. When
Yeah,
she's intoxicated, so she's usually in a pretty good mood.
much like
So my
Jazz most of the
character's-
time.
Oh, you need to stop.
What?
I'm out of stuff to
That's
throw
my
at him,
one.
Jazz.
Says the
Please,
one
please
that's
do.
says the one that's finally allowed to eat Rice Krispie treats. By the way, congratulations.
Hey, yes, I'm so happy.
Are you off of a diet?
No, I have a very special diet because I have gut issues.
She's
that
got
I
a lot
won't
of.
go into.
She's one of those people that all this gluten crap originally came from, but she doesn't
Yes.
do it as a trend. She does it because if she eats gluten, she went into horrible seizures.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh
So-
shit.
there's supposed to be a joke in there somewhere, but it was awful.
Yeah, it was horrible. And once they figured out what was causing the problem, and I stopped, and I mean, part of it was a head injury, and part of it was the gluten. So, but because I've been on gluten for so long, my celiac is very, very bad, and it kind of spiraled out of control, and basically everything was allergic. So we had to get rid of everything that could even remotely be allergic to, which was
Sorry,
It
Power
used-
Hat the
So-
Wizard in the thing says
so if I can-
celiacs unite.
silly.
So you were a vegan on steroids, basically.
Well, actually opposite. Meat and vegetables is all I can eat. I mean, I can't have sugar, legumes, nightshades, eggs or dairy, and grains or seeds.
She was like the
So-
Bible version of the anti-vegan.
I know, it was ridiculous.
She was a herbivore.
Lots of fresh vegetables and lots of meat, nothing else for
Oh.
quite a while, for the last 8 months. And I had some Rice Krispie treats through a friend. One of my clients made it, and I did not react at all. I waited a full 48 hours, and I was still fine. So I was like, woohoo! Went and made Rice Krispie treats for my boys. They're so freaking happy. You just don't know.
Yeah. So
Cool.
yes,
So
well,
I'm very happy.
congratulations, Jazz.
I'm
So
getting rice back. Rice and peanut butter and one other thing. I can have little bits of sugar, but not much.
yeah.
Okay, you guys are gonna have to have a podcast just on her dietary supplements.
Seriously.
Seriously, yeah. We welcome to the dietary podcast for people that can't eat food,
Yeah, I
But
know,
also
right?
like to roleplay.
but also like to
Also
role
like
play.
to roleplay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what you got, Jay? How'd you come up with your character and all? I mean, that 3 years ago. That's a good long time for a single character. You're still on him? I assume because we've seen him around.
Yes, with about a year. I took a hiatus for about a year.
Mhm.
But have you guys ever seen the? It's on Netflix now. I think it was on. I can't even remember what network it was on originally, but the Tudors with Henry
Yes, I remember
James.
that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it,
I
but I
based-
know of it.
My character is based very much off of Henry VIII.
Okay.
In that.
Oh, so you really do want him to be dead?
People have tried.
I'll bet.
It hasn't been a fun run, to be honest. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
an interesting run, but not necessarily fun.
A lot of
But,
intrigue and backbiting, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And so my character can go from being completely reasonable, just like any other human being, to something very recently happened where he basically got so angry at somebody he punched a table until he broke his hand,
Mhm.
and went Liam Neeson on him. Basically said that if you don't do what I tell you, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna fucking hurt you.
Yeah, I've got
I'm
a
sorry, I don't
certain
know
set
if
of
you're allowed to-
skills. I don't know who you are.
You swear all the time.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Oh no, you're all right. Yeah,
Okay.
it's,
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
thank
fine.
God.
No.
I was like,
Have you
oh, no.
we're on the
Listen
internet.
to the back podcast.
Yeah.
Ashen over there, man. potty
he's
mouth.
worse than the rest of us.
I
Fuck
learned
you
the
all.
curse in the army, so I like
Yeah.
Good lord.
I'm gonna
Making my
get,
point
I'm gonna
for
get a
me.
swear jar.
So basically, yeah, my character, he can go from being completely reasonable to just being so insane that he would break his hand punching a
Sociopath,
table.
yeah.
Exactly. And it kind of works out for the best in the sense that not only can he he operates rather than hiring, because he's a Dunmer Lord in Great House Dres, which is one of the most
Oh, you're a dress. That's right. I remember that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now I remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
will try to kill you. Let's hope they don't ever formally meet. That would be bad.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so many people have met him and been like, I just want to kill you.
Mhm.
One
But
of
that's
my-
always one of the.
right.
I love meeting those characters, though. Those are always my favorite
Yes.
characters. The one where the guy is cool, like you obviously are. I mean, you've called our show. You have to be just one of the top 3 coolest guys in ESO. Only
I
the coolest
try.
people call this show. And but when you can hate the character but still love the player, that's like the super sweet spot.
I really like the idea of that. Unfortunately, it doesn't always go that.
Which
But,
that's their problem,
it's-
not yours. At least, as
that's-
long as
that's-
you're not
that's-
taking it bad.
That's the nature of the beast in roleplay, though. I
Mhm.
mean, not everyone is going to enjoy the character you play, and not everyone's going to enjoy how you defend him. Unfortunately. But,
Yeah. So how?
yeah. But
given
go
what
please.
you based him on, how I know you took a year, so it's still a solid 2 years of playing your character at this point. How much has he changed from what you had originally based him off of from that to where he's at currently? Has he changed a great deal and evolved as a character?
Yes. See, with my character in particular, I didn't have a lot of my character was kind of based on what occurred throughout roleplay. So, like originally,
Mhm.
my character was not a Dres. He was Redoran, I think, is what I originally based him. Because when I first started him off, it was in the middle of roleplay when Elder Scrolls Online was new. So it was kind of difficult to just set him in stone, if that makes any sense.
And as you're learning,
Mhm.
I did the same thing. As I learned lore, I didn't even pick a house when I made Tarvala. I was learning the lore, and I'm like, okay, now I know. I didn't say which house she was, and then once I figured out how the houses worked and which ones were best, then I picked one. So yeah, that stuff
Yeah,
happens.
exactly.
Yeah.
So my character originally got started flavor at the beginning, and basically what happened is that he was okay with slavery, but he wasn't, like a big promoter of it. But so many people, when he's like, hey, if you guys got criminals, like we'll sell them as slaves, I guess, it's not a big deal. And so many people that were not Dunmer reacted so poorly to him. He basically acted like a 16-year-old who was told to do something by his dad, and he was like, well, screw you, I'm gonna do all the slavery I can.
You get slavery, and you get slavery. Everybody gets slavery. You're the Oprah of slavery, right?
He
Yeah.
turned into Oprah, and so now the guild is like almost friendly towards being a outlander slave than it is being friendly towards a Dunmer.
Yeah. And are you the one that? So is it? Because I've seen them there. I don't often go to them because I've usually got something else going on. Do you guys do these like the slave auction thing?
Actually, no. That's another guild
Okay.
called I think it's called the House of Benighted.
Okay.
It's run by a character who's named Spellslinger, and she's a very good. She kind of took up the mantle of Dres roleplay after I departed,
Okay.
and now our character is a kind of her character being the lord of her house. I cannot remember her last name for the life of me.
House of the Benite. Yes, according to Power.
Something like
Power
that.
Hat the
She
Wizard
took her
says,
name
yes.
off. Yeah. Her character and my character are kind of on they're tense because my character is a dangerous radical. He takes slaves and he makes slave soldiers out of them. So he puts weapons in the hands of his slaves, while her character is more of a Dres traditionalist. Slaves are there to serve us.
Servants, yeah.
Not exactly. So it's a tense situation between the pair of them, and they're both in the middle of Stonefalls and basically just waiting for the other to make the move.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's always fun when you get the interaction, even with something. I know I know in real life slavery is something that's what's the word? It's bad. It's very, very bad.
That's the word he says.
Yeah, what's the word?
That's the word for it.
That's the word. It's very bad. And unfortunately, not to bring real life into it, there's actually the saddest thing about that is there's actually more slaves today than there were even in the past. And most of them, even worse than that, is most of them are children and they're in horrible sex. It's a horrible thing.
In places like India and Saudi Arabia, especially.
Well, and even here, believe it or not,
even here,
one of the
even in the
hub
United States. No, you're absolutely right.
Phoenix, Arizona is a hub for child kidnapping into the sex trafficking thing.
No,
believe
you're
it or
absolutely
not,
right.
It actually passed Colombia, I mean, come on. How do we pass Colombia? But okay, enough real world stuff. So I'm just saying when we talk of slaves in roleplay, it's not making light. We're talking about digital characters that are usually lizard people, and they're not even real people because lizards aren't people too.
And most of them do it by choice.
Yeah.
If I can take a very, very quick opportunity to point out that anybody ever has the opportunity to locate something like that, like find somebody who's been kind of forced into a very servile situation, definitely call local law enforcement.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And, you get stories. I actually saw a story just the other day of someone that had pulled up to something like a fast food McDonald's restaurant, and something seemed off about the little girl that was 10 years old with them, and they called the police, and sure enough, it was they rescued her from somebody that was just getting ready to go take her to a hotel room. So. Not to bring down the show with horrible real life stuff, but it's out there. Just be aware, and if you ever
and see,
always listen to that little voice in your head.
Oh, absolutely. And see, part of what I've based, so I have two things that I have to base my character on because it's a very complicated character. On one hand, he's a kind of xenophobic Dunmer, traditionalist in a sense. But on the other hand, he arms slaves to fight for him. So I have to choose between the guild and the character in some ways. So, have you ever heard of the Janissaries of the Ottoman Empire?
I have to say, I think the Ottoman Empire might be a little bit of a gap in my knowledge base.
That's okay. No, it's not. I was just curious. Sorry,
I've heard of the Ottoman Empire. I know of it. It was a big empire. It was a great empire. Everybody tells me it was one of the best empires. We built the wall. The Ottomans paid for it. It took care of the whole thing. Is that a little bit before that?
They were ruled by hereditary
by a few thousand years. Yeah. No, go ahead. What's with them?
So the Janissaries were basically slave soldiers, and so they were aligned a lot of freedoms in the Ottoman Empire. And eventually, they turned basically corrupt. You know what I mean? Like bureaucracy takes over almost every country, given the opportunity. And so that's basically pre-bureaucracy is what I have House Arthos at. So if you are an Outlander slave, you get a lot more opportunity than you do even most Dunmer.
Yeah, kind of. Like the Romans did a lot of that stuff. Like you could, with the gladiators. Exactly. They were slaves. Yeah, they were fighting, but they can actually they were able to earn a reputation and sort of a standing within their society. Without the being fed to lions like modern day athletes or Hollywood people or anything like that. Though there's a few that I'm sure would probably deserve to be fed to lions, but still, that's another show entirely.
Not being fed to lions, depending on what political party you're in, what movie you watch.
But no, that's cool, man. So before we let you go, you got any shout outs you want to give? Yeah. Obviously, probably to your guild, I'm sure.
Oh, obviously, anybody in House Sarthos is currently listening, and they should be listening because I yelled at them all in all caps to.
Now you're definitely gonna have to be like,
love you.
Just remember that they can always go to Podbean or iTunes or Apple, whatever podcast it is now, and they can listen to you on the show later. So it'll be up
tomorrow. The only other shout outs I got is for Ebonheart Roleplay and the Heart of Morrowind Roleplay. Basically Discord servers. Hope everybody here is listening, and I hope everybody enjoys themselves.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Jay. It's the Jay the Exile from ESO, and appreciate you calling in, man. It's good hearing from you.
Hey,
what's up?
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right, so before we get to Zatari, I do want to get at least one of each one of us. So Jez got one of her main characters.
Yes.
Sib, you want to go with your namesake?
I'll go, yeah, because it's not a long one.
Yeah.
My namesake. I loved my namesake. I actually started her in the Old Republic. I named her Sibbe, and she was based
And that
off.
was hold on before you. It was BAE, but that was before that idiotic meme where people called people Bay instead of Babe started. She actually
yeah.
predated that.
It was her whole name.
Yeah.
Sibbe.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So
yeah.
No, she would get that from there. She was actually creative, and didn't that horrible meme actually probably came from her because she was amazing. Go on, sweetie.
For me, but no, I actually we had been watching the short animations for the Old Republic when it was starting to come out. You know, the word was starting to spread. It was
such amazing little shorts.
and I based her off the Twi'lek that hung out with Darth Malgus, Elena Duru.
Yep.
I saw her on those clips, fell in love with her, and I thought, this is what I want my character to be. I want her to be a badass gunslinger. So
she was.
And that's what she was. She was just like, she's like, I don't take crap from anybody. She was captain of her own ship, I loved her. And then just had a lot of fun with her. Even though she fell in love with the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
she can be forgiven for that.
Yeah. But that's basically how I came up with her. I just wanted that kind of awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially in those if anybody's played MMOs and you haven't gone and watched BioWare's SWTOR mini movies and stuff like that, their cinematics, you are missing out on probably the best Star Wars.
I think we probably watched them about 50 times.
And even the new ones from the new Fallen Empire.
Yeah.
But on top of that, what even, and I don't know if you probably remember it without even remembering it, hun, is Elena Duru. They actually did a book based on Star Wars: The Old Republic that actually hit those scenes from the cinematics.
I read the book.
And the audio book of that really went into depth on her and Malgus's relationship, why she had attached herself to them, and even ultimately what happened to her. And I'll give you a hint: he was a Darth Lord. And it didn't end well for her because he turned out that he realized partway through the end of the book that she was his greatest weakness. And like all Sith, he had to destroy his own weakness. Spoiler alert, Han Solo, for example. So yeah, and
that's where Sibbe came from. And then whenever we started the show, I was like, I've kind of hung on to that name because it was just, I think she was where I really started to get comfortable with RPing, and so she really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, because she wasn't your first character. We had several characters before that. Aeon was one of them. That was one of the first ones we really got into.
But I wasn't comfortable with that RP.
Right. Yeah.
You said whenever we got into the Old Republic, I really started to feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I started to, but she's still one of my favorite characters, if not favorite.
That happens too. Like the characters I have here, they're not my first characters, but I think my first real. Yep, she's strumming it again.
That was me.
No,
I keep hitting the little springs on my microphone stand.
Oh.
Yeah, but
sounds like a guitar.
Fox from FAWKES, if I remember, he was my first true roleplay character that I can really, really remember, and that was from the Matrix Online. And yeah, it was very similar. I didn't even include him on the list really, other than that little side note, because I don't remember much about him. I was still getting comfortable with online roleplay and things like that. That's where I learned the rules with brackets and in a character and out of character. That was where I learned all that stuff. So yeah, a lot of the characters that come before, there's sort of like the pre-character, and then I think everybody in roleplay often has a few of those, and then there's that one character that everything clicks perfectly for.
And she was also the first one I started writing stories about. She just was, I mean, I just could get into that character. Oh. But that's my Sid.
Okay. Got in the chat from Zos Jack Gleason at RPMMO Radio asks, worst experience ever in an MMO. Mine was getting sent a popular guild leader's dick pic and realizing that he was the victim of a botched circumcision. Hard to not feel sorry for somebody after something like that.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had something that would be on that level of sweet Jesus.
I bet you I could, but none of it is something that I could talk about. So
yeah, no, not while the cases are still pending. No, we don't have any cases pending. Honestly, to answer your question, Jack, I think the overall worst experience I have was early on in EverQuest 2. There was a guild called Shadow Slayers, and I think I've told the story, but the guild leader had an ego the size of Texas, and not a deserved one. But he ran that guild with an actual real-life friend of his that was just down the street. He was a married guy with little kids, and he ERP'd, and that's cool. You know, people ERP. They're consenting adults. But when it got creepy, and why I ended up leaving the guild was when one of the gals he was doing that with actually got skeeved out enough to come to me and tell me that in the middle of that, he said, hey, instead of calling me whatever his name was, call me Kevin. That's my real name. And then just keep doing what you're doing. Sorry. It was such a skeevy thing, and he got so pissed off when I called him out on it, and I ultimately ended up, I think I ended up getting kicked out of the guild, which was probably one of my proudest moments in getting kicked out of anything. But yeah, that for me is probably the skeeviest RP experience I have ever had in an MMO. And it wasn't even to me; it was just on behalf of someone else. That it just, you know, as Jazz will contest, I'm not exactly a world-renowned feminist by any case of the imagination, but I do respect and revere women, and I think I'm a little old-fashioned in that I think they should be treated as they deserve to be treated, which is, you know, with respect. And doing something like that, especially when it wasn't asked for on their half, is just wrong. So, and thanks for agreeing with me so quickly, Jazz, you jackass.
Known you a long time. No one will ever accuse you of being the feminist.
You've known him longer than I've known him. So.
That's true.
Yes.
Yep. All right, so before I get into my character, I'm going to drop Zatari 420 down here and do that trick where I unmute them. Ah, there we go. So, Zatari 420, welcome to RPM Radio. Are you there?
Wait, what was that? There's so many people talking. I can't really hear anybody. What was that?
We're welcoming you to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, how's it going,
Hello.
bud?
It's going all right. How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
Doing good.
Good.
So, what are you playing, and what character do you got?
I am currently role-playing right now, actually, as we speak, in Elder Scrolls Online, and
Okay.
I'm on my Argonian Zutari. He is a high militia overseer to House Sarthos, and also the chief interrogator as well.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So, how'd you what did you do to come up with Zatari?
Actually, it's an interesting story. I noticed that the guy that actually helped me create Zutari's background is actually in your Discord chat. The human Floyd. Yep. I ran into him actually watching one of his roleplay videos that was given to me by actually my current guild leader, Arthwin Sarthos, who I think you guys just interviewed not too long ago.
Yeah.
so after that, I had commented, after I watched a couple of his videos, I had commented on one of them asking him about tips on how to go about creating a character sheet. And so we emailed back and forth across InGen, and we started coming up with this whole background. And he helped me create a timeline for Zutari leading up to the current events, and everything in between that. It was a lot of fun, and he actually invited me to join his in-game guild as well, the Banescale Fellowship.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's not really people, obviously. He's clearly an Argonian in human form, which was my guess for his name. And for anybody that else guessed that, it's not correct.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to roleplay with him one-on-one in game yet, but it has been something that I've been wanting to do, just so he could see where all our time and effort was put into, and I've been slowly updating his character sheet as well. So every now and again I'll create change something around or make something a little different.
Yeah, and I have a feeling we don't know, we've dealt with Floyd quite a bit recently. He actually and both we said it last time, but we did a roleplay event with him, and both parts of that are up now, part 1 and part 2 of how that ended and everything at rphq.org, and it was a lot of fun. And he is a super cool guy, so if you were able to get that sort of help from him, and he absolutely would help anyone, and I guarantee he'd probably love to see what happened, where you've come along. He just seems like one of those people that has so much passion for roleplay that he would just want to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like even with little things too, like they've also added in game. I've been able to show like a quote unquote passage of time with Zutari, because I took a break from ESO for a while due to real life issues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they recently released the I don't know if I'm sure you guys have played ESO once or twice.
Yeah, it's actually it's our current RP game of choice. Actually, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you guys know about the one of the recent hairstyles they released, the White River braids, I think they're called. It's like it's a longer hairstyle.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got the braids going down both sides of their
both sides of their neck. Yeah.
The Pippi Longstockings thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the northern thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. On an Argonian, it's like a full head of feathers, really long, beautiful feathers. And so I had put that on him to show a passage of time. And through roleplay, before I took my break, Zutari had like horns and feathered mohawk going between them. And so now he has just a full head of feathers and lumps where his horns used to be that he lost, through battle or just through time itself, wear and tear kind of stuff. So little things like that I like to throw in that give it just like a little bit more life,
Yeah, or his molting. It's molting.
Yeah, where he sheds. Yeah,
this one is molting again. Oh, I saw a mud crab today. Sorry, it's one of my favorite quotes from the game. Is I saw a mud crab today. They're everywhere. What's so special about that? It was looking at me.
Yeah,
it is neat to watch your character evolve too. Throughout the game.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said it's neat to watch a character evolve throughout the game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's fun to see where they go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and that's really one of the things that keeps me coming back to this game. To be honest, is like the friends that I've made and the stories that we've created through roleplay. Like with others, some people may find it like completely baffling. Like like what the human Floyd said when he was talking about it. He said, like people would much rather be out there, questing and getting fat loot rather than walking around talking like an Argonian. But it's all fun just the same. It's just we approach it differently.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just a creative. And it's like a lot of it's a hobby basically. You know,
Yeah.
some people build build model airplanes, says the fairy. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
Tommy boy.
right. little train sets or something.
Before you
like
know
that.
it, you're sniffing glue and your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it 1,000 times. But but you know, or people that go to appreciate the subscription. That was what that loud boom was. People that go to, you know, football games and they're so passionate, they're so into it that they take off all their clothes and they're dressed in their Gabe's colors, which to me is utterly baffling. It's 30 degrees out. Put a fucking coat on. But just like me sitting on my computer for 4 hours pretending that I am a dark elf woman, that's what they find fun. So who the hell do I care? What the hell do I care? As long as they're having a good time and they're enjoying themselves. You know, it's just a matter of perspective in a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And also another thing like that is it's also really fun to kind of see how things would be through a fantasy character's eyes, you know, like through a society that we're not really used to seeing on a day-to-day basis. And you know, that's what I think that, you know, some of these fantasy games are really good at producing weird, you know, out of place stuff that you don't really get to see. And I feel that roleplay is just a way to explore that a bit more, you know, get more in depth into it. Because yeah, it may be a game and it's fun, but there's probably a reason why this event happened. There's a reason why the Red Mountain exploded. There's a reason why Argonians have been enslaved by the Dunmer for centuries. You know, there's reasons behind everything.
They're inferior Enwa, of course, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Arthur would agree with you.
As I said, I'm out of stuff to throw at him, so.
Hey, I play a dark elf. What do you want from me? That's absolutely true, and that's one of the things I love about roleplay. And if you think about it too, I mean, I know not every developer probably appreciates it, but they put in dozens of people put in I'm going to say thousands of hours writing stories, writing dialogue. How many hours of dialogue are recorded in a game like ESO alone?
Over 1,000 for me.
Right. Oh, and you know, and they have all that story and all that dialogue built into the game too. It seems like a shame to waste it. You know, they went through all that trouble to make that lore, and then, you know, yeah, it's not for everybody, but it's a really cool way to really appreciate even somebody else's work. Yeah, okay, they were paid for it, but they wouldn't be there if they didn't want to be. I mean, you know, nobody really works a job all the time because they absolutely have to. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, it used to be that way, but no, still, you know what I mean. If you're absolutely hate your job, like suicidally so, you're probably gonna quit.
yeah,
So you know, and when it comes to game development, they put in a lot of time and effort, and it's an awesome way to really go along with that.
Yeah, most definitely. And like there's so much proof of that. Like even the books that you're running through this world, you know, collecting, like most people just see it as a way to, like, you know, up their mages guild's skill line, you know. But if you actually sit down and take the time to read a couple of those books, they're actually a pretty decent read. Like I've caught myself, you know, just looking for books and not even really role playing, just reading what they have to say, because it's really cool.
Especially when you get that skill with ESO has, where you can oh my god,
Edemic library, something like that.
I can't remember. I was trying to think. It's not. I know it's. I was almost said edemic too, but I know that's not the word. Memetic. Memetic. What's the thing when you memorize everything that you read, Jazz? You're the smart one in this group.
Eidetic.
Yeah, there it is. The eidetic memory. That's what it is.
Damn, do we look stupid?
I actually had to go in game and pull it up.
Have another drink, baby.
Have that. I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, well, you still remembered what it was.
Back to the head. Well, yes.
One too many hits with a snake. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no.
One too many hits with the snake. No way around it.
That's one of my favorite lines from Aladdin too. Sorry.
Too many hits from the snake.
But
I know that is hilarious.
But
I'll be honest, that reference kind of flew over my head for a minute until you finally said, "Oh, it's from Aladdin too."
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that in a while. So.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I have kids, so I've seen it about 10,000 times. So the entire show is in my memory.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I remember a lot of really completely worthless information from.
He is like random
I
movie
know
quotes.
quotes from so
Just-
much shit. It's actually very.
It's the one thing
really
I
kinda
took
scary
away
sometimes.
from my favorite childhood show was Invader Zim, and that
Invader
was
Zim.
Earth babies come from space.
Yes.
There was no other way around it.
I am a normal human worm baby.
Baby. Yes.
That's right.
Meow.
It's me. I was the turkey the whole time.
Oh, we are huge Zim fans. I
That
love
was- Oh, yeah.
Invader Zim.
When Sib and I first were dating, and she had her kids are much older now, but that was 8-9 years ago. They never watched Zim, so I actually bought the DVDs, and we all sat down as the four of us, and that was one of the, along with some Princess Mononoke and some of the Studio Ghibli stuff. That was some of the first stuff I introduced them to. It was Zim, and they were hooked on. We all loved it. We all love Zim here. We're all looking forward to. Apparently, they're
Apparently
they're resurrecting him as a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually got to see the teaser for that when it was released, and I can actually probably pull it up and link it in there for you guys to check it out
go
later.
for it.
But at first, it kind of throws you off a bit for the first half, but then like as soon as it continues, you realize I hope that it's going to be good. It sounds like they're going to have the original voice actors. It sounds like
that's
that
what
much.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yes.
Even for all the
I
other
just
ones
hope-
they're doing, like Rocco, they're bringing back a lot of them, like Rocco's Modern Life and things like that for like TV movies, basically. For all those 90s cartoons, they're doing 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, I heard a rumor for a time that they were gonna bring back like a whole channel dedicated to like '90s cartoons.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
I hope that they do that. Yeah, because like that's awesome. Way better than the cartoons we got nowadays. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're pretty hit.
All the same artwork and almost the same voice acting. And
unless you go to Voltron on Netflix, excellent cartoon because it's done by the same. The new Voltron cartoon that Netflix did. It's done by the same people that did Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra. It's the same animation team and writers of that, but doing their take on Voltron. Very good. Very on Netflix. So.
I'll have to reactivate my Netflix and give that a shot.
It's
I've
worth it
mainly
just
been
for that.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I just watched the first episode of Game of Thrones ever today, so I'm still catching up a bit.
You're in for the long haul.
Oh, I know. I got like about 5 minutes through it, and then I was
There's
like,
a Wang.
Yeah, I'm like there it is. Like that's what everybody wants to see.
That's right. All right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Zatar. You want to give a shout out to your guild or anybody else while you're here before you go?
Yeah, Arthrin. It would have been amazing if I had known that this would have been ahead of time, so that way I could have prepared a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
Oh yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for having me. I had a blast. I'll definitely be tuning in a bit more now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll definitely send it out to whoever else wants to listen.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for calling in. You have a good one, bud.
You too. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Appreciate Zutar calling in. 420. Blaze it. All right. So we got one more person on hold, and this will probably be our last call, and then I'll go ahead and get to my character. And honestly, we're probably only going to get one character each. We had a whole bunch of them, but I honestly would rather have talked to every single one of you than just talk to ourselves. So I already know these two assholes. I mean, there's not much I already don't.
Hey.
Oh, I mean these two.
What you know?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so T is who is actually somebody we've known from ESO. As soon as I unmute her here. There she is. T, I've known from ESO. Actually, she was back in the Servants. We knew her. Sib and I did. I don't know if Sib remembers, but back when we first joined ESO, and she's still kicking around. So how's it going, T?
Oh.
Welcome.
Pretty good. Hello.
Hey, it's good to finally talk to you. I don't think I've ever talked to you actually
I don't think we
voice to
have either.
voice. So as you can
I
tell,
think you
I
were,
am
like-
not a beautiful, sexy
Hey.
dark elf female.
I
You do it.
I didn't think so. But,
No, I didn't figure you did.
I've actually had people be like, "Wait, you're not a cat?" I'm like,
Wait, hold on. Whoa. You're not a cat?
nobody.
Okay, well, we're going to hang up on this
the
caller.
internet.
No, so how's it going, T? What you want to talk? How'd you come up with your character? Obviously, I know you're playing ESO, so I don't have to ask that question.
Yeah.
So-
that's the only MMO I really play.
Is that the only one you've ever actually played, or?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. I played
Now-
like this little crappy Korean MMO a long
Oh.
time ago.
Ooh,
That
those
doesn't
are
really
rough.
count. It was cute though.
Oh, is that
Um,
like one of the Maple Stories, one of those sprite-based ones?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
That's not
Yeah.
Maple Story, but Trickster. So yeah, I only really played ESO because I like Elder Scrolls, and people are probably gonna throw things at me for saying this, but I didn't actually play Morrowind until right before ESO came out.
I haven't
And-
played Morrowind yet either.
What?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh!
I literally bought it 2 days ago.
You're gonna have so much fun. It's a great game.
Yeah, I did all the patching and everything like that, but I finally broke down for the $15 and bought Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and yeah, I'm gonna start trying to play through it and see what it was. I will say logging into, or not logging into it, but loading it up, it was pretty nostalgic for that 2002 era of
yeah,
RPGs.
I like that's a great era for games, so makes complete sense.
Yeah, so what was your inspirations for some of your character? I mean, I assume T is probably who you called in about.
Yeah.
Sue?
Been playing her for about 3.5 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically made her because I wanted to play a Morrowind, but I didn't want to play Dominion. Sorry, Dominion fans, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to play Morrowind, but I still want to play Khajiit. So I was like, how am I going to make a character? I was like, well, there's one very obvious way of doing that, and that is to make her background. She used to be a slave.
Mm-hmm.
So at first it was just kind of like a joke. It's going to have like her parents die in a tragic cliff racer accident or something, but I decided not to go with that because,
Yeah.
So basically I didn't want to have a character that was ignorant to Morrowind culture, because I knew she'd probably just die.
Right.
soon.
Yeah, somebody that had been around the block a couple times, and
Yeah,
then
you
you solidify that by joining mostly at the time Dunmer Only Guild.
yeah, that was, I don't know how I got in still. I was such a noob. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, can I join? And then I started getting asked questions, and I was like, oh no.
I don't know
What do I
do?
I'm gonna just log off, never log in again.
Fake it till you make it. That's what they say in roleplay, according to what I just
exactly.
said 3 seconds ago.
so I don't know. I just walked into the temple, and Sub's character was like, "You did something bad, so you gotta make it up by serving the temple." And T was just like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then antics, and I kind of thought over the character maybe 2 months before ESO came out because I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
But I actually had made a Dunmer, a male Dunmer before that, because I didn't think anyone would want to RP with T.
You Khajiit.
Yeah.
As it turns
I was-
out, very popular race to be played as.
know.
You didn't really have to worry about that one,
Not at all.
No. But yeah, well, and so was there anything in specifically any stuff from literature or anything that you liked that when you based T off, or is it one of those things that just kind of progressed naturally as you learned to roleplay and apparently play the MMO as well at the same time?
Yeah, so I just kind of like the Khajiit and Morrowind. I have to explain it since you haven't played much of it.
I've played Skyrim. They're in that too.
Well, yeah, but they're like a special kind of derp in Morrowind. Like, there's this little Khajiit in the Mages Guild, and she's like, "You can help me by getting me flowers," you know.
Yeah, the fetch quest kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I went to go get flowers, and you know, I was just assuming I was doing stuff for the guild, right? And then later on, you have to find her research notes. And if you find the research notes in it, it's like, this one went all over Morrowind to find flowers for her research project all by herself. And you're like, oh my gosh, this cute little cat just like completely used me.
You've been tricked.
Exactly. And I was just like, I love it. So
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to make a character that was like likable, but I mean, she was raised by Dunmer, so
Yeah, well, and now you have
incredibly racist and
yeah.
kind of terrible.
We're not racist. You're just not people. I mean, there's nothing
I
racist
mean-
about that. You're just not people. You can't be racist against not people.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So she doesn't really like Khajiit either. She doesn't like. She feels kind of like
She's
she
one of
got
them
cursed.
self-hating Khajiits.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I wish I was, part of the Dunmer crew, but she does what she can to sort of help them along. I guess.
Yeah, and now she's in charge of it's Telvanni, is it contracts, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
contracts. Yeah.
So a little bit after I joined the temple, I got invited to join House Telvanni, and one of the things I kind of set out to do when I made her was I made like some vague goals. I was like, if this came up, she would obviously, go for it. And one of them was actually join a house. And the other was hopefully for it to be Telvanni. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And I've been there for years now. And she's a spellwright in Telvanni.
Yeah, and for those that have heard me talk, I think we talked during our events discussion. This is the same tea, the Khajiit, that I mentioned about the Telvanni Tea House. One of the things that somebody can do she does a weekly thing is it Sunday at, is it 9 Eastern? I always suck at the time zones.
9 EST.
9 Eastern. So 8 Central. I always have to convert it into Central because that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always wait, what?
I don't live on the East Coast either, so
yeah. So
I think we've lovingly started calling it Ebonheart Standard Time because
everyone
everybody
uses it on
EST.
Eastern. Yeah. But yeah, so she's the same one. Does a lot of really good roleplay stuff. She's real solid. You've been one of the favorite people. I can't tell you how tickled I was when we came back to ESO and I bumped into Sabea, and then you were like, you found out as well, and I got to tell from you. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe she's still around. That's so cool.
You're like literally one of the first people I think I ever RP'd with on ESO.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Maybe
That's pretty cool.
Maybe like number 4 or 5 is pretty high up there.
You hear that, Sib? I'm one of the 4 first people she's ever talked with on the server.
He's talked a lot about UT.
Mm-hmm.
How sweet you are and stuff. So yeah, I'm hoping to get my Mel Dunmer in the guild. So
in the servants.
In the servants, yeah.
So
try to do something a little different, mix it up.
I just don't know how well I'll play a Mel.
We're not that hard. Just don't overthink it.
Just burp
That
and
really
scratch, right?
Right there is the truth.
Seriously, don't overthink it. We're not that hard.
Just keep it simple because as long as you do that, people will believe it's a guy.
Yeah, we want to stab something with the sword or with ourselves.
Anything else?
We want to eat and we want to go to sleep.
Yeah, there you go.
And also sex. Sex is actually probably before the last 2. So those 4 things you gotta mail. That's and then put some things in there that made their life difficult, like women, for example. So
you remember I
before we-
played a psycho vampire male for a long time. Nobody knew I was a female playing him, so it was
Nice.
it was a nice little feather in my cap because they all thought it was my husband, which he still grumbles about.
Yes. Oh yeah, and in our Discord chat, Sib actually just put up a friend of mine a long time ago actually made me about a 2.5 foot Invader Zim that I still have in my house to this day.
What?
Yeah, it's actually in the
Oh my god, I see it.
in the Discord chat. And that little guy has been sitting with us. I've had him for years now. So, but before we let you go, T, you got any shout outs you wanna say to anybody before we move on here?
Shout out to my guild, obviously, the one I help run, Talwani Contracts. We're pretty cool.
They better
Do
be. You
magic
better
and
treat her
stuff.
right, otherwise I'll come over there and I mean I won't really be able to do much of anything. I guess I could spam your channel and then you could report me, but you better be nice. She's good people.
Ooh.
But no,
Thank
appreciate
you for letting me chat with you guys.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah,
I
thanks
appreciate you
for
calling
stopping
in.
in.
Yep. So I'll see you in game, of course, and I'll talk to you later, T. You have a good night.
Take care.
Later.
Bye.
Thank you.
There we go. All right, so we'll wrap it up here. Actually, gonna go probably just a little long. I'll go ahead and hit one character for myself, and that was probably to go along with Vacarina's character was Xanis, who are the characters actually played a lot off each other to the point they were actually married for a good long
Eventually.
time.
Yes. It was
Um,
weird how that happened too.
Yeah, because he's a good guy. He was a goody two shoes. But he wasn't always though, which is where they actually found common ground a lot of times. He was a lot of times her balance, and she was just a
trying to
terrible
make her-
influence
yes, she corrupted him, and he actually pulled her more
away
to
from the
center.
brink. Yeah,
Yeah, because she was on that edge of being, Stalin. So
Yeah.
he pulled her away from that, and she kind of corrupted him to being a little like his old self.
yeah, because he, like I said, he wasn't my first character. My first one was Fox in MXO. But Xanis was definitely the longest running character I've ever had. His personality and backstory, especially at the beginning, were based on Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie that David Boreanaz played, which I was, really, really enjoyed that show. And if you've not watched it, don't judge me. It's still very good. So screw you. To the point where his last name, Selegna, is actually Angelus backwards, which was Angel's full name when he was the bad vampire before he had his soul put back in his body and started to become a goody-goody. Not a lot of people figured that out, but it was, I always like to put subtle little hints on that. And it's actually because of Xanis that almost every character I've had ever since then has an X in their name somewhere. I think Tarval is about the only exception to that.
And Jay actually figured it out. I'm terrible at anagrams, but he looked at that and he was like, that spells Angelos. I wonder if that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me who he was because I didn't know. I was like, what? He told me, and I was like, I bet you that's true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
T, it wasn't that bad. You sounded just fine. She said she heard herself talk to the video lag and she's cringing. You were just fine.
Yeah.
Trust me, I have to listen to this voice all the time when I listen to the show again. And shut up. You love this voice. Oh, yeah.
I have listened to Jay because he'll put it on his phone while he's cooking and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I'll walk out into the kitchen and go, "What are you listening to?" And he was like, "You." And I'm
You?
like, "What?
I don't sound like that."
I will say, when we first started this, I didn't think I sounded anything like myself. I was like, who is that?
Yeah, I didn't recognize myself at all.
Yeah. But because with Xanis, he I use the basic Angelus formula. He did horrible things. He was actually known as the Blood Terror of Neriak for 400 or 500 years. Just did awful, horrible things in the name of his god and his queen and king at the time.
Yeah.
Because he was still alive, King Nex. So, and I used
And
a bit
that was
of
actually how Vaca met. They both knew each other previously.
yeah.
Didn't
We
know
had
that.
not redone, but adapted our backstory so that there was actually
Yeah.
history. Of course, at the time, he didn't give two shits about her because she was unimportant to him and not worth remembering until much later.
Yeah. And she
'Cause he
only
was very
respected
selfish.
him because she was like, well, that's a man of power. I should keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
But that was the only kind of crossing that they had. But I thought it was fun to have their characters, because they were both so long lived, had known each other back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then on top of that, I actually used knowledge I had from playing EverQuest 1, which I didn't play as Xanis in EQ1. I didn't roleplay then, so don't judge me. I played Goku-O-San, which was just a version of Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and he was a wood elf druid. But I actually had done a few of the like Tunar raids from back in the day, so I used that knowledge and put it as Xanis and a group of dark elves from a squad of them were sent by the queen to go to the plane of growth and kill Tunar. And as you can imagine, it didn't end well for them. They were completely outmatched, and all of them were slaughtered except for him, who was drugged before Tunar. And she like cursed him in a way, but it's a curse to him, a blessing to her, that she restored his ability to feel and emote and have empathy, worst of all, for other things. And so all
That was
those
quite a curse for him, though.
400 years of stabbing babies and kicking puppies came back as, oh, that wasn't good, all at once. And he damn near lost his mind. And that was, he had lived for years, just barely making it by his sanity, holding by a thread in the lower Feydark, when he was found by his first true love, which was Lita Starfall, which the Lita part actually comes from Lita Alexandra, the telepath and telekinetic from Babylon 5, which not many people probably even knew that part, just because I like redheads, and she was actually a redhead and largely based off the actress that played Lita Alexander in B5. So then she died tragically, of course, and he basically spent the rest of his life, and he was also had an unnaturally long life for reasons I won't get into because it's not really irrelevant to this, but he gave him that sarcastic and moody personality to cover up the pain when he turned, and occasionally something would get in the way of the curse blessing, and he would turn back into his old self for special roleplay events. And those were always fun deals.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that's it's a lot to go into with him, just like Vaccarina, because it was almost over 10 years that we roleplayed on those characters. So it's, for Jazz for certain, actually, it was probably longer than that. I actually left out of EQ2 before she did. But that was probably where I got the inspiration and ideas for one of the longest running characters I had. I have others like Valengray from Star Wars Galaxies, Xanatos, and who I don't remember Valengray that well. It was Star Wars Galaxies. It was a pretty long time ago.
That was before my time.
Yeah, Xanatos, Kenix from ESO, Tarvala and ESO, both of which I still currently play. But since we've run so long on the episode, I'm not going to bother going into those, as well as, Sib had Nyan, Halan, and her Volley, which is one of her current characters, and Jazz has, Mirion and Sail that she has, and another one called Tarek from AOC, and Kiriv from Thor. Yeah. So, but we're not going to have time to get to those because, honestly, I would much rather have listened to you guys, and it was awesome getting to talk to every single one of you. I can't thank you enough for, I really honestly didn't expect anybody to call in. I'll be honest with you. You do these things, and it takes a lot of time to build a show up and get things going and get people to actually not even tune in to listen, but just to know you exist. Takes a long time. As you heard from several people just tonight, they only just now heard of us, which is awesome. I'm just glad sooner or later. That's our motto.
Yes, exactly.
So, and also we're going to, just to give people a head up, I've already decided next episode we'll be discussing what RP means to you in real life. Like, what is it you get out of it? What, while you're doing it, what has affected and changed you in the real world? Because it interacts with you. It affects you on an emotional level a lot of times. So we would love to hear stories next week. If you have a great story of how roleplay, it made you see the world differently, or changed you, or even more importantly, because I know this has been true with me and Jazz both for sure, helped you through a really hard period in your life. As Jazz said, when she had a lot of health issues and she was playing the game for 12 hours a day or whatever, it was a therapeutic thing for her, and that's this helped her through that. Kept her, she couldn't leave the house, kept her sane.
Because I am a type A personality, and I've always worked, and then suddenly I couldn't work. Yep. So I just threw myself into the game the same way I did everything else. And
kept her from going crazy. So anybody listening on our podcast, you can, like I said, rpmmoradio.com/Discord. You can join our Discord server, and 2 weeks from today is the 30th of September, so I'm not sure. I guess that'd probably be about the 14th, because tomorrow's the 1st. So somewhere around there. You can listen to us live and call in. We'd love to hear from you. So I want to thank you. I do appreciate you, but thank everybody for listening. Anybody got any last things they want to say before we kick this pig out?
Just thank you so much. Without you guys, we couldn't do this.
Oh, totally.
We'd be doing it to ourselves, talking to ourselves. But
Kellen Drost kissed my ass. Now that Xanus is a famous podcaster, I want to throw my panties at him, he says in chat. You're an asshole, but I love you. I love you, brother.
No, thank you, everybody.
So,
yes, thank you, everybody.
Just visit us at rpmmoradio.com if you want to keep up to date. You can also do that on Facebook, iTunes for the podcast. When you do want to listen live, join our Discord. We're gonna keep all that stuff going, and really, guys, can't tell you how much I appreciate you calling in. It really means a lot to all of us here, and I really hope everybody had a good time. And so we're just gonna have to ask you to tune in next time, when we'll discuss how halflings don't really have origins; they're just birthed into the world by spite alone. Next time on RPMMO Radio. You all have a great night. The thoughts and opinions expressed by RPMMO Radio are just that, and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great rock covers. The thoughts